Good morning, 8th grade. Hope we're all doing well. This is my second try at making the video because I made a few mistakes on the first video and I also ran out of time. So I'm going to do a better job of making sure I get through reviewing today's assignment with you. Before I do that, I shared with you my ideal routine for next week. Again, you can read this on your own, but I wanted to highlight a few very important parts. One, I will have office hours every day from 1:30 to 2 p.m. In a Google Hangout. The link for the Google Hangout will be posted in each day's assignment. You can still always send me an email or private comment with a question. I will be checking attendance from you by posting here in the class comment section. I'll show you what that looks like right after this. But the big thing, aside from this, you reading it on your own, if you have any questions, please ask. I'll point you in the right direction. So I'm going to go to classwork. Today is April 6th. So I posted today's review. Today's review is on Earth's interior. All right, this is what we did the week before we stopped coming to school. So when I mention in the directions that says, say here in today's class comment section, well, there's a class comment section down below the assignment, and test student has already said here. I did that in my first instructional video. That took a little too long, so I'll just show you again. Here, type it in, test student is here, I mark you present. So instead of so that's how I'll be marking attendance. I think that'll be the easiest way for us to keep track. And so today's assignment, complete the Google Doc titled April 6th, Earth's Interior Review. This is due Friday since we'll have a check-in quiz Friday as well. For our check-in quizzes, you'll be able to use any notes, any practices, anything that we've done during the week to help you with the quiz. Some quizzes will be taken for points, being right and wrong. Some points will be taken for participation. Are you trying? Are you giving everything your best shot? Okay, so complete the Google Doc titled April 6th Earth's Interior Review. Sometimes we'd get resources, but today I wanted to try sharing the documents with you right away. So that's what I'm going to do. You have to complete this Google Doc and, well, you have to complete it. But I also share with you this video when I'm done sharing. I'll post it online. But then I also share with you the slides, Monday, April 6th, Earth's Interior Review. This will be very, very helpful. These slides are like notes that'll go hand in hand with all of our learning this week. So I did this in the first video, but I defined each vocabulary word shown. And where did I find it? Well, first there's the schedule of kind of what we're doing this week. But when I start April 6th, oh, look at that, Earth's interior, key vocabulary. I defined crust, mantle, outer core, and inner core on one slide. And then I defined pressure, temperature, and depth in another. My challenge to you is trying to find it in your own words as best you can, okay? So I'm going to try crust, layer of cool, solid rock. So the definition is layer of cool, solid rock. Well, that definition is pretty standard. It's going to be hard to define that any other way. Let's maybe try the mantle then. Mantle is very hot rock, which is still solid, but can flow or move, like hot tar or cement. So first thing I'll do is I'll type very hot rock. Which is still solid, but can flow or move. It's like hot tar or cement. Is there a way that I can change that definition? Well, I think so. some parts of this feels a little choppy, doesn't feel very smooth. So let's try this. Very hot solid rock. It's like tar or cement because it can still move. Okay, I've taken all the pieces. I said very hot rock, still solid. And I turned that into this sentence part here. But then I said it's like tar or cement because the mantle can still move. Trying to be more specific helps me understand a little bit better, and so I've defined it. Okay, your job, you can go back and look at outer core, inner core, temperature, pressure, and depth. You can define that on your own. Okay, part 2, key concepts. 3 main ideas here. 1, how do geologists know what the Earth's interior is made of? What's their evidence? They study blank and blank. So I know when I'm looking at my slides, I need to be looking for how do geologists or how do we know what Earth's interior is made of? This is still key vocabulary, so I'm not there yet. Oh, how do we know what Earth's interior is made of? What is our evidence? Okay, seems to be that there are our answer. We know what Earth's interior is made of because answer 1, answer 2. Okay, so geologists study blank and blank. Well, it seems to be that they study rock samples from the crust. Seems to be one answer. And then they also study, well, take number 2 and put it into your own words. What else do we study? Okay, let's see. So 2 and 3, analyzing a pressure versus depth graph, reference in the slide shared. Okay, so if you could travel deeper and deeper into the Earth, what would happen to the amount of pressure you feel? Would you be squeezed more or would you be squeezed less? Maybe you remember this, maybe you don't. So let's check. Oh, here's a quick review. Didn't include it in the note, in the sheet, but can you label Earth's layers? I bet you can. If you're not sure, check the next slide for the answers. Okay, Earth's interior, pressure and depth. What happens to the pressure we feel as we go deeper into the Earth? So deep, so we have to know what pressure means, we have to know what deeper means. Well, you have your vocab answers here. You also have them earlier in our slides. But let's go off the general understanding that pressure is like squeezing. And so you experience more pressure if you squeeze or get squeezed harder. Okay? The harder the squeeze, the harder the force, the higher the pressure. Okay, and depth is kind of like how deep or how far, say, underground something goes. Okay, so we have the upper mantle, lower mantle, outer core, inner core. All right, so I seem to be going deeper, deeper, deeper. The depth number is going from 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 on higher. Okay, the pressure counts up from 0 to 350 gigapascals. Pascals is a unit for pressure, like dollars is a unit for money. You know, there's dollars, there's pounds. Pounds is used in England. Yen, which is used, I think, in China. Yeah, I don't think, no. Yeah, China is yen, Japanese is not yen. Same idea. Units for measurement, units for money, kilopascals, unit for pressure. But look at this red line. This red trend line shows you what happens to pressure as you go deeper, or vice versa. It shows the relationship between pressure and depth. So as depth gets bigger, what happens to the pressure? Does the pressure get higher or does the pressure get lower? Well, if you see the trend line, we see the trend line going up, which tells you that the pressure increases as you go deeper into the Earth. Which layer experiences more pressure, the mantle or the outer core? Well, if you compare the regions, boom, 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 let's say the lower mantle versus the outer core. The lower mantle has a range of, if I mark here, it looks like it's about 25 gigapascals to a range of about 125, 130 gigapascals, whereas the outer core starts at the 125, 130, climbs all the way up to 330, okay? 330 gigapascals. Which number is higher? Well, the number range for the outer core is stronger than the number range for pressure in the lower mantle. So you can answer both. What happens to pressure as we would feel as we go deeper into the earth? I made a text box and I would say the pressure increases. And then which layer experiences more pressure, the mantle or the outer core? Well, it seems to be the outer core because its pressure range is from 130 gigapascals to 330 gigapascals. Get it? GPA. You'd rather have a 330 GPA, grade point average. Anyways, bad joke. So, analyzing pressure for its depth. Using that, you can answer number 2. Now, number 3, you want to analyze a temperature versus depth graph. As you travel deeper into the Earth, which layer of the Earth would have the higher temperature? Earth's outer core or Earth's inner core? So, I won't answer that necessarily for you, but what I will do is I'll walk through this graph. This graph you might recognize again because this came from our review when we were still in school. Well, we're still in school, but when we were actually meeting together in person. What happens to the temperature we would feel as we go deeper into the Earth? So we know that the crust, in order to go from the surface of the Earth to the inside of the Earth, we must first travel through the crust, then the mantle, then the outer core, and then the inner core is in the very inside of the Earth. The most depth you can get to is the center of the inner core. Okay, well, let's look at our temperature ranges. So I'm in the crust. My temperature ranges appear to be from negative 129 degrees Fahrenheit to positive 159 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, very cold to pretty hot. The mantle goes from 900 degrees to 1600 degrees Fahrenheit. That's incredibly hot compared to the crust. So we seem to be getting warmer. Let's see if that stays true for the outer core. Oh, outer core gets hotter and the inner core gets hotter. So it seems to me, what would happen to the temperature as we go deeper into the Earth? The temperature gets hotter. Which layer is cooler, the mantle or the outer core? Well, you have to compare those temperatures. But it seems to me that the mantle has a temperature range of 900 to 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit versus the outer core is 6,000 to 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So we would argue that the outer core is hotter. Okay, so we reviewed that, and that has helped me answer number 3. You can then answer that question, but note, I'm not comparing the mantle and the outer core. The question is asking you to compare the outer core and the inner core. Make sure that you're reading each question carefully. Okay, that kind of wraps up the assignment. I just want to make sure that I've filled everything out. So let's see. The last thing I wrap up was the attendance check. 1, fill out the Google Doc April 6 notes. Okay, that's this sheet. Have you defined all the vocabulary terms? Have you answered each question, 1, 2, and 3? Did you say here in the class comments section? Yep, did that. And so number 3 is just a reminder. Every Friday we'll have a small quiz over this week. I'll show you how to take notes in Google Docs. And please check in during my office hours, send me an email or send me a private comment. That was supposed to end with if you had a question, but clearly that didn't. So this assignment's not due until this Friday at 10, but if you want to ask a question or submit it, please do so. That was today. If you have any questions, please let me know. Have yourself a fantastic day.